Sandra Craven, and I am the social media content manager for Helium 10. And today I am joined by the woman of the hour, the epic woman of Amazon e-commerce, Athena Saveri. How are you today?
This is so fun. It's such an honor. I'm so excited to do this with you. I began my journey a few years ago in e-com, and I was able to have success for myself. And then from there, I just naturally build community and events and experiences. And so this journey has been quite fun. And I won't go into the whole details, but let's just say now I put on very unique events all over the world internationally. I do sourcing trips to China. I have a female group that I absolutely adore, and I also host a mastermind called Titan Network. I think for me, I was always craving freedom of time and location and financially. And I had a decent job, but the thing that was a big struggle for me, which we can talk about a little bit later, was not having that balance, not having the freedom. And I had a friend of mine who I was working with who was actually quitting his six-figure, really decent job. And I was like, what are you going to do? And he's like, oh, I'm selling kitchen products on Amazon. And I was like, what? Like, I literally laughed out loud. I'm like, you're doing what? Like, wait, you're leaving your job to sell like kitchen products, yeah? And he's like, yeah, for real. And I couldn't believe it, but he did something really special, which is he opened up his laptop for me. We actually went to lunch, and he showed me the money that was being deposited in his account every 2 weeks. I was in love right there on the spot. You know, I've always been a go-getter. I've always been hardcore, you know, in my career. And then when I had my first son is when it really became obvious to me that it was difficult to balance, you know, having a full-time job, keeping up with the finance, trying to be a good mom, trying to be a good wife, trying to be good to myself. Like, it was really when it hit me that it wasn't just something nice to be able to be home or to plan my own life or my own schedule. But at this point, it became sort of vital for me to kind of get out of that. I call it hashtag jail. Sorry. Not to offend anyone who loves the 9 to 5 race. Like, if that's your thing, cool. But for me, it literally felt like jail.
Selling on Amazon, being in e-commerce, being an entrepreneur, and doing your own business branding, your own thing essentially, made you a better parent. Can you kind of expand on that, of how it has enabled you to be there for your children more, there for your family more?
I remember that I quit my job on a Friday, right? And that morning that I woke up and I was like planning my like outfit of I love you, but I'm done outfit, I called it. It had to be like slightly boss, but slightly not, because it means like I was going to stay home from now on. So I remember like first that feeling, which was just incredible, that I had built something that was making me enough money that I could walk away. That was huge, right? And a lot of my motivation was obviously because I wanted to be home. My youngest had maybe turned 2. He was still very little. And I struggled every day dropping him off at school, because some kids are more ready than others. He wasn't. He's mommy's boy. He still is. And every morning it was just tears from him, tears from me. It was just so rough, Cassandra. I can't even tell you. And then I remember that Monday, I stayed home. I took my other boy to school, which I didn't always get to do. And I remember the feeling of being at the zoo with my baby and looking at his little face. I can still remember just being like there with him and just being able to be me and control my life. And I think that's a huge part of being a mom, is, you know, being able to be there for them when you need to or when you want to, but then also to kind of show them that they can do more and be more. So it's not that you get all this extra time with them, because let's be real, like, I work a lot, you know, I do a lot of traveling, like my world's kind of expanded, but they see that mommy's happy, they see that mommy is, you know, expanding. And I think that just sets a really neat example for my sons. And it's not just to get into e-commerce, but to overcome the obstacles that you face. Because let's be real, like when you're building a business, you're always going to have those ups and downs, right? And so you have to be able to persist, and you have to know that your why and your purpose and the reason you're doing this is stronger than whatever life wants to throw your way, right? But once I kind of persisted through and I broke through all that, like it gave me this sense of freedom that I know people are looking for. but the fact that I made that one decision changed the trajectory of the rest of my life and the trajectory of my kids' lives as well. So yeah, for me, Amazon and e-commerce is just like everything. It just changed everything for me.
What was one of your biggest challenges when, not only, like you said, just not only getting into e-commerce, kind of conquering that hurdle, but now you've got to make it. What was that biggest challenge that you faced?
I ran into all kinds of issues, and a lot of it had to do with sourcing based. So I launched my first headband, it went really well. And then I launched my second one, and it actually went really well as well. But I was having communication issues. And so being able to get the right color, the right sizing, the right everything would just take longer than I expected. And so I ended up having a bad shipment that came in. And because I wasn't familiar with sourcing, because I hadn't met anyone like Kian Golzari or some of these like superstars that have taught me so much about the subject, I didn't have quality control in place. So with my second product, and I invested a lot of money, like you have to realize I wasn't loaded when I started my ecom business. I bootstrapped the whole thing. So it's like as soon as I would sell out of my product, I'd take that money, put it back into my next order. And this shipment came in, and I remember like all of a sudden getting all these 1 stars on my listing. And I was like, what is going on here? I thought maybe I had, some competitors doing some weird things. And then I look, and they were 1 star accurate reviews because the stitching of my headband was bad. So I went on this trip to China, and it like blew my mind. It was amazing. But the only issue with this trip is that they had a little bit of a different perspective on building relationships than what I'm used to. And being that I'm kind of like a people person and a networking person like yourself, I knew that the way they were treating the Chinese manufacturers was inappropriate. Like they were teaching us to go in there and be like, we're these big dog business people and you better give us the price that we're looking for or we're going to walk away type
Yeah,
of vibe. And I was like, this is not for
right.
me. And so that was actually what inspired me to create China Magic, was this experience, because I knew there was something magic about China, but I knew that there was a better way and people out there that knew how to source correctly and really understood the culture and how to build real partnerships. And so that's really where that came out of in my journey.
There has never been a community that I found, especially for women, but in general, like the e-commerce Amazon space. How has that impacted your career as a person, personally, branding, professionally, all those things, having those communities in place?
It's literally a dream come true. It is everything, because it's like we've got this business that you can grow, that you can be very creative with, that you can build either some part-time income or you can make multi millions of dollars and exit this brand, right? So that in itself is really magical. But then what's also magical is that like everyone's brain is different, right? Like you're a goddess at all things, social media, you're very creative and things like that. Now, let's have you get into some crazy spreadsheet stuff. I don't know if that's you or not, but maybe that's not your strongest point, right? So, like, you connect with someone who's brilliant at some other aspect. It could be, PPC, it could be sourcing, it could be whatever it is. And then you take your ideas and your experience and you mush it with their brilliance. And all of a sudden, you've got this amazing like exponential growth that happens, which is what the whole like networking and masterminding and working together vibe is. And this industry is so perfect for that because it's always changing. And like you can literally come up with one idea that can change everything for somebody's business, and I see that all the time in all these, great masterminds that I've been to all over the world. And I've just seen so much growth happen because of that connection.
Where do you see, I mean, we are kind of still in the middle of the pandemic quarantine, but
Mhm.
obviously shopping online has become a necessity more than ever. Where do you see e-commerce going in the future?
Well, I think it's just going to get stronger and stronger because it's so convenient. And even myself, who does shop quite a bit online during this pandemic, I started buying things I normally wouldn't be buying,
Yeah,
right?
same.
And I know, like, even my grandma, who's 90 years old, started shopping on Amazon a lot more than she ever had. Maybe she bought a couple things, but now she's literally buying everything because she can't leave her home. So I think that e-commerce is only getting stronger. The opportunity is only getting better. And I see that there's just a lot, like I have a lot of friends that are doing some really fun branding stuff. They're working with a lot of influencers. They're really building up their media, and they're just creating like these amazing environments because people are consuming so much content. They're so like, I mean, they're literally on their internet phone all day. And so I think it's a huge opportunity, not just for people who are in e-com, but also to start getting even more creative with how you build your audiences because of the level of consumption that people are doing. What do you think about selling the products that people would use to make lemonade?
Genius.
And they were like, what? And so we literally went online, and I found a couple of factories, and we asked for every lemon related product that they could send me. So I got samples, and this is just a little tip from Athena. When you are working with a factory and you're looking for products, always ask them to add in the box any other products or things that they manufacture in your samples, because it'll only increase the price of your sample by a little bit. And you might find your number one product that's not the one that you're sampling, but it could be another related product, which is how I found my original headband. I think as a mom, you just want to give your kids the best possible chances for a bright future, right? Showing them the world, connecting them with, you know, what's out there. As an example, we went to Colombia and I helped organize a concert for underprivileged children, and my kids were so little and they were there handing out food, handing out clothes, and it was a very difficult part of Colombia, but I wanted to show them a different side of life, different cultures, different things, so that it's not just, you know, being in LA in a privileged environment. They need to know what's out there in the world. And another thing that's very important to me is that they have as many skills as I can give them to give them a bright future.
I know we've kind of talked about this the whole time, but you know, how this has made you a better parent. And when you said, you know, the traditional scholastics and teachings in school is just not what the real world is anymore. And I do feel like there's always been, with like the school systems, like a little step behind. So the fact that you knowing this industry and you can teach your children not only the value of a dollar, but how to make money and profit and grow, that's, I feel like, again, just another invaluable reason that being an entrepreneur has given you.
My name is Athena Severi. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, everything's under Athena Severi. You can also go to athenaseveri.com or titannetwork.com, because that's a very easy way to find me. More than anything, find me on Insta or find me on Facebook. It's not that businessy. It's more just the passion of who I am and what I do. And you can see sort of my travels with my kids and with, you know, what inspires me. So I'd love to connect with anyone out there that needs help, that needs love, that needs anything at all, because, you know, that's what I'm here for. One thing that this whole 2020 craziness has brought out is just the camaraderie of this industry, and how grateful I am for people like you, Cassandra, or some of the other amazing people that are in this industry that are not just associates. Like, we are really truly connected. We're really truly friends. So when people reach out to me, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like real connection, and that's the whole point. So let's lean on each other, let's lift each other up, and let's just make the future as bright as it is possible.
Athena, well said. Love it. You've been wonderful. This has been great. Thank you so much, and look for more to come.
Yeah, can't wait to give you a non-virtual hug.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just, you know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Athena. Mwah.